Well, do you ever have a hard time celebrating your own successes? For example, you're the type of person who doesn't say thank you when receiving a compliment, and instead you kind of downplay the accomplishment. That type of thought process really can be damaging, especially to a woman's self-esteem and self-worth. Joining us this afternoon, Amy Schmidt is the host of the podcast, Fearlessly Facing 50, and she joins us now. She's back with us now to share some tips to boost confidence over the age of 40. Amy, always nice to see you.
Great to see you, Tamsin.
Well, so why do you think some women, especially as they get older, have issues feeling confident in their own skin?
You know, Lady Gaga says it right. You know, are you born with it? Are you born this way? Well, I think you are born with confidence, but it takes practice, and it's like a muscle. You really have to practice and flex it. One of the most important things, and you know, you really talked about it at the beginning of this intro here, was the fact that sometimes we really undervalue ourselves and make us out to be less significant than we are. So I'm a big believer in developing a highlight reel, and that's not your greatest hits. That is your story, your triumph, your successes, your accomplishments, but also your challenges and your failures along your journey. And look at those experiences because they all translate. You know, don't take yourself out of a job because you don't check all the boxes. You know, you don't have to. Look at those experiences you had along your journey, and those parlay you into greatness. So don't underestimate those. I think that's one of the most important things.
Yeah, no question. Well, some women have a habit of putting others' needs, obviously, before their own. They've done it for years. And we're not talking necessarily about kids. We're talking about coworkers, other parents. Is it possible to stop being a people pleaser or less of a people pleaser?
Oh boy, good question. I think we're all people pleasers, right? We always want to please somebody, but you know what? This is a wants and needs thing. So we do have to evaluate, is it something that we really need, or is it something that other people want? Let's take the example of, you know, being class mom. Maybe you've done it since kindergarten and your kid is now in 7th grade, but you've always done it. And you're like that Mikey in that Life commercial, that old one. Amy will do it, she'll do anything. And you have everything in place and you can do it. But maybe this year you're going to say, you know what, I'm sorry. I have some other commitments this year, so I'm going to pass. Step into that power of actually saying no. You know, it's November. That's a big thing. Stepping into your power of saying no and really realizing, you know, does this align with the values and the journey I'm on right now? Or is it something that somebody else just wants from me? Is it something I really need? So that's a really good challenge for your listeners.
Yeah, is there another way to boost confidence, kind of step out of our comfort zone? Because I think it's important to get past that fear of trying something new, especially as we get a little older.
Absolutely. But this is our time to embrace being a novice, to really adopt that learner's mindset. Even if we tried it before and we didn't have success, it's okay. We can try it again. You know, when I launched my podcast, I forgot to push record and didn't even have an audio file on the first one. So I could have sat back and said, forget it. I'm too old. I'm in my 50s. I can't do this. But you know what? You have to step forward. You have to continue and challenge yourself, recalibrate.
Well, so why is it important to start small? Because I think we hear that a lot.
Yeah, starting small, you know, it is true. And I think because at this phase in our life, we want goals that are, you know, a little bit smaller that we can achieve, that we can take action on. So, for example, you know, the New York Marathon, maybe somebody's going to see that and say, you know what, I want to really do that next year. And you might have, you know, some of those characteristics to take that on and take it on with confidence, but maybe you need to start with a 5K and then move to a 10K.
A 1K. Is there a 1K?
A couch, you know, a couch to 5K. I did that once. And I mean, that was fantastic. So actionable goals that you actually see results. That's so important.
All right. Amy, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your tips.
Thanks, Tamsin.
Yeah, for more advice and inspiration, you can follow Amy on Instagram at Fearlessly Facing 50.